Hi, and welcome back to the Club Lucha Podcast. It's been a little while, and I apologize for that, but I've been going through some very exciting and positive changes in life, and that set me back a few weeks on this podcast. So I thank you for sticking with me, and I'm hoping that we're back to a more regular schedule now. I also want to quickly plug the Discord if you haven't joined and you want to join a cool and positive community to talk about all kinds of pro wrestling, not just Lucha Libre. Well, go on ahead and join the Moonsault Collective Discord. You can find the link in my Linktree on Instagram or TikTok. We'd love to have you. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, feel free to shoot me an email over at theclublucha@gmail.com. That is theclublucha@gmail.com. There's been a ton happening in Lucha Libre over this past month and a half, and I'm very excited to talk about it on today's episode. We'll be going through a ton of Lucha news and happenings from every company which has had something significant happen over the past month and a half. I'll do my best to go company by company and try to make it as concise and direct as possible. But sometimes there are things that happen in one company that affect another, so please bear with me. I'd like to start today's episode by saying rest in peace to both Terry Funk and Wyndham Rotunda, also known by many as Bray Wyatt. I also want to say a few words about them. While Terry Funk was a bit before my time, I absolutely can still acknowledge and understand the impact he left on professional wrestling and the world. It is always a sad day when wrestling loses a legend, and to lose two in a week is truly a tragedy. I know there must be a lot of pain among the people who worked with both Wyndham and Terry, and grief is a heavy emotion to carry. So in times like these, it is good to show kindness and grace, because we really don't know how they are feeling. So jumping straight into our episode today, let's first talk about AEW. In recent news, All In at Wembley had our main man, Penta El Cero Miedo, featured in the Stadium Stampede match. And they got me really good on this match because I was really bummed when I thought that Penta had gotten injured during the match. I think it was after some sort of chair spot where he was slammed through a chair, or he took something through a chair, and he was just gone for a good chunk of that match. And I got pretty bummed out about it. I was like, oh man, like, first off, it sucks he's out of the match. Second off, it sucks that he is hurt, that he's hurt enough that I had to take him out. Well, imagine my shock when he came back and slammed Santana through that table. And that entire sequence was almost lost because of that weak ladder, which broke. I don't know if it was impossible not to catch that ladder breaking. And I'm actually blown away and very impressed because they saved the spot. They somehow still pulled it off. And even with a ladder on only 3 legs, that ladder only had 3 legs, they were able to get that spot off and get Santana through that table. Penta Oscuro, he came back out, new gear. And you know what? Very, very happy with that. We didn't see Rey Fenix at All In London, and I was pretty sad about that. But this past Saturday on Collision, which time of recording this yesterday on Collision, he had a great match against Angelico on this most recent episode. I was very happy to watch this match, and I was very happy with Collision in general last night. But All In London, it was a very good, historic event, and we could spend the entire episode talking about it and all the other matches that happened during All In, but we won't, because we've got a lot more to talk about. But I will also say this about AEW. Tony, if you're listening, I don't know if you are, I don't know, but if you catch this, Tony, go ahead and give Saturdays to the Lucha Boys. This past Collision was very enjoyable. A ton of Lucha guys booked on the show. And the main event being Penta against Samoa Joe. I loved it. Tony also showed some love to Cubs fan, a.k.a. Lucha Blog, over on Twitter. So it's nice to see that Tony Khan does have his finger on the pulse of Lucha. Next up, let's jump over to the WWE. A few cool things happening here this summer. Most notably, the Mysterios have both acquired some championship gold around their waists. Dominic Mysterio has captured the NXT North American Championship after defeating Wes Lee. And Rey Mysterio has defeated Austin Theory for the United States Championship. We might be seeing some pretty cool things happening with Rey and the LWO here in the future. The seeds have been planted for a Santos Escobar turn against Rey because Rey did technically take Santos' opportunity after he was injured by Austin Theory and taken out of the match against him. Of course, Santos denies being jealous now, but this could lead to something down the line. And personally, I think I've said it before, but I'm going to say it again. I think a slow burn jealousy angle with Santos betraying Rey and making the LWO a heel group would be fantastic. I'm a very big fan of a heel LWO, and I feel like there's a lot more creativity and opportunities for them in that aspect. Over on NXT, Los Lotharios, Angel Garza, and Humberto Carrillo are having a series of video packages highlighting a return to their roots and their family. And these have had a very high production quality and almost look like mini novelas. Many people have pointed this out online already. They look like little mini telenovelas that you'd see almost like, what do you say, soap operas, almost like TV soap operas. I like them. I really, really do like them. There's something a bit peculiar about these segments as they have consistently, and I say consistently a few times now, both online and now in one of the actual, video packages, have shown a new icon or maybe a logo for the duo. It almost looks like a bloody claw mark. To me and to many others who've pointed this out already, it is very reminiscent of Los Perros del Mal, their logo. Not sure if they're going to be actually using that name or even if it's a direct allusion to that, but the logo is very similar. I'm not sure if they're allowed to use it, but it is a cool little coincidence. Their uncle, Hector Garza, he was a founding member of both Los Perros del Mal and the LWO. But, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, they're not in LWO. Maybe one day in the future they will be. A nice little nod. But if not, whatever they have with this intriguing little group, I'm into it. Dragon Lee has had some spotlight on him as well, facing off against Dominic Mysterio in a losing effort for the NXT North American Championship with Rey Mysterio as his mentor. It was a good match. And he had actually, if I want to talk a little bit about that match, I think that's one of Dominic's best matches too against Dragon Lee on NXT. I really, really enjoyed that match. They both looked great. And it was a very good finish with Dragon Lee not looking bad in that loss and Dominic keeping, the character, keeping his heelish ways alive. I really enjoyed that entire match. Dominic and Dragon Lee faced off as well in an intergender tag match against, it was Dragon Lee, and he was facing off against both Rhea and Dom. And then lastly, one other thing that's LWO related as well, Zelina Vega and Io Sky, they had a pretty good match on a recent SmackDown as well. It was short, I think maybe 6 minutes that they had. Very short, but I mean, I don't think there was anything else that they could have done in those 6 minutes that would have made the match any better. I thought it was a really good match and, very happy with that outcome as well. Moving on again, let's talk some Mexicans in Japan before we hit the big part of the episode, the two big Mexican companies. And this will be pretty short because unfortunately I don't watch a lot of these events over in Japan live, but I like to keep up with them and sometimes I'll go back and watch some footage of them. My big focus for this is El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. over in Pro Wrestling Noah. He has now become the longest reigning GHC national champion for Noah with a reign of 294 plus days. So big congrats to him. He had a good showing in the N1 Victory Tournament. He didn't make the finals, just missed those, but I still think he looked good. I got the opportunity, actually. I should have done a whole episode about this, and maybe I will for maybe not the next episode, but possibly the episode after that, I got a good opportunity to see Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. live at Mucha Lucha ATL. They had an event in July, towards the end of July. I went to that. Super, super enjoyable. If you are in the South, anywhere near Atlanta, I highly recommend going to Mucha Lucha ATL events. They're very enjoyable. I mean, they had Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., they had Blue Demon Jr., they had Tinieblas Jr., they had Daga. They had a lot of guys on there, and it was very good. Very, very enjoyable. I will be going to the next one. Anyway, Hijo de Wagner Jr., he was very cool. I got a print, I got an autograph, I got a picture. And one thing about this event that I will say, I was really hoping to try and get some interviews from some of the guys there. But unfortunately, I had some technical difficulties, and I will be more prepared next time. So the next time I go to this event, expect to see some sort of live footage, some sort, maybe hopefully, fingers crossed, I get an interview with somebody at the next show. I was actually able to get one interview with these guys, BGU, Diamond Sheik, Jack Jameson, and Cuatro Cabezas. And unfortunately, when I was reviewing the footage, my microphone just sounded completely awful. Like the audio from this brief interview, from this footage, was just completely unusable. And it tore me up inside because I really wanted to post it because it was really, really cool. And it's just talking, I guess, at live events, talking with the performers and the talent who's working there is just super cool to me. I was so nervous. Honestly, I was so nervous to even ask these guys for an interview, but I did it, and it went well. But unfortunately, the footage and the audio that I captured was just not usable, which sucks really, really bad. But you know what? You have to try, and even if you fail, at least you tried. And the next time you try, you take the knowledge of that failure and you change things. And the next time that I'm down there, I will have a better microphone. I will have a better setup. And hopefully I can get some, maybe some interviews or just talking to some of these guys, asking some questions, and really, really highlighting that experience at Mucha Lucha ATL, which again, highly recommend it. So yeah, hopefully that for the next event, and maybe that'll grow into a bigger presence on this podcast as well, getting guests on their own time to, jump on the podcast, talk to me about their careers, their life experiences, lucha in general. So if you know anyone who might be interested, go on ahead and send them my way. You know what? I'm open to it. I would love to talk with people, especially in a setting like this, one-on-one, about their careers and what they have done in lucha and professional wrestling in general. Anyways, let's get into the real meat and potatoes of this episode, AAA and El Consejo Mundial de Lucha Libre. We're going to be talking about the Summer of Lucha, all the things that throughout the month of July and August and a little bit of September, because now we're here in September 10th, that have happened in Lucha Libre. And I'm not going to go into too much detail because if I did, there's been so many things, so many events that have happened that we would be here for 3 or 4 hours. And I know nobody is trying to listen to me for 3 or 4 hours. I think a cool 45 minutes to an hour and some change is good enough. So first, let's talk about AAA. In the last month and a half, almost 2 months, AAA held 2 Triplemanias, the first in Tijuana, the second in Mexico City. I watched both, and I can tell you exactly what you miss, or maybe what you didn't miss from both events. So let's talk about Triplemania Tijuana first. Before beginning, I want to preface this by saying that the talent in AAA is there. There are many talented and charismatic workers. However, after watching these two events, I will say the way that they are presented and the ways that the matches end up going sometimes are not very good, or at least in my eyes, not very satisfying. That being said, there was a lot of nothing on this card. A lot of the matches ending in very dubious ways. But I guess since they had to set up for another Triplemania a month later, in a way it makes sense. Doesn't mean I have to be happy with it, but it does make sense a little bit. I was most interested on this card in QT Marshall against Pentagon Jr. Some bad things about this match. There were a lot of times during this match when I literally could not tell what was even happening because of the camera work. And I think this maybe falls on board of the production side of things. At one point, maybe early to midway through the match, between the early points and the mid points of the match, they walk over to the ambulance because this was an ambulance match. But the cameras, they didn't have any cameras over by the ambulance. The cameras are so far away, you couldn't see anything happening over there. You could faintly see them in the crowd near the ambulance, but you couldn't see what was going on. It's just, it just felt like, okay, like I'm watching the crowd. I feel like somebody with a camera should be over there and like walking with them to show us, I don't know, a closer angle or at least know what's happening. There was a table spot that I thought was kind of messed up, but people have come out to talk about that it actually went exactly how it was supposed to. I thought it was messed up, but I didn't think it looked like the cleanest table spot in the world. Okay, it can be forgiven. The ending was very strange because Aaron Solo, he was in the corner of QT Marshall, and Aaron Solo ended up being what gives Pentagon Jr. the loss, I guess. He ended up putting QT Marshall over on Penta. Even though at the beginning of the match, when Aaron Solo was ringside, he was kicked out by the ref. Guess it didn't really matter because he was, at the end of the match, he was in the ambulance. I think he sprayed Penta with fire extinguisher. He hit him with something. And then QT Marshall was able to hit his stuff on Penta, get him in the ambulance. QT wins. QT winning is not a problem to me. It just felt like, I don't know, there were some times where what was I supposed to be looking at? Why was Aaron Solo still there? I would not have minded if QT Marshall won. I don't know, maybe in a better way. It's hard to articulate it when I guess you're looking back on it. In the moment though, I did not feel very satisfied at the end of that match. But it's whatever. Let's keep going. The match I was most excited for was the tag match between the teams of Rouge and LA Park against Psycho Clown and Sam Adonis. And if you remember, Rouge had talked about quitting AAA and not working the Triplemania shows, but he still made it in anyways. Whatever issue they seemed to have was resolved by Showtime, which is good. I actually really liked this match. I very much enjoyed it. Very self-destructive tag match. No attempt at fighting the other team. LA Park and Rouge just battled each other. And Sam Adonis and Psycho Clown did the exact same. I was actually very swerved and very surprised by the finish of this match, as both teams had a member pinned simultaneously. I expected, as many others did, for Sam Adonis and Psycho Clown to advance to the finals, and for Sam Adonis to just lose his hair. But instead, all 4 participants moved on to the finals and were put in a 4-way lucha de apuestas, which we will talk about in a bit. The main event of Tijuana was Hijo de Vikingo and Kenny Omega, once again putting on a very, very good match together. Vikingo went over clean. He retained his Mega Campeonato. And it was nice. Good ending. I don't really have a lot to say for the rest of the card. There was not a lot of very notable things that stood out to me, I guess. And that's probably one of the reasons why I didn't like it quite as much. Leyenda, she won the Battle Royale for the Copa Triplemania. Kind of like a over-the-top rope Battle Royale at the beginning of the show. I didn't really get too invested in this match. I didn't really see a ton that stood out to me in the women's trios match. It was okay. Again, I got nothing from Team Pagano against Team Vampiro. El Tejano Jr. came back during that match, I guess, close to the end of that match. I think it got ruled no contest anyway, but he came back. But his return did not set up a match between him and Pagano for the next Triplemania, like the following month. So that's cool. I mean, you bring somebody back, you have him attack, I guess, reveal himself to be the attacker of Pagano, and then you don't set up that match you don't blow it off at the next Triplemania. Okay, fine, I guess. I did pop for Negro Casas when he was coming down to the ring for the Team Tijuana versus Team Mexico City match. The match was just fine. There wasn't a lot that stood out in that match as well for me. There were some shenanigans. I think that the battle rapper that Team Chilango, aka Team Mexico City, had with them, he ended up ripping the mask off of Argenis, which Argenis had lost his mask to Mysticis Jr. at the last Triplemania in Monterrey, which was like, I think in April. But then he comes out wearing it, and then the battle rapper rips it off, and it was like a little pop from the crowd, I guess. It was just cool, I guess. But Nicho el Millonario, he was on Team Tijuana, of course. He low-blowed Negro Casas, ended the match. And that actually did set up a Triplemania Ciudad de Mexico match. Overall, Triplemania Tijuana was quite literally just all right. Like, I feel like I'm being very generous saying it was just all right. It was okay. Because, I don't know, man. The two best matches, I think the two matches that are worth your time watching, the semi-main tag match with Rouge, LA Park, Psycho Clown, Sam Adonis, that was entertaining. And then the main events between Omega and Vikingo, that was entertaining. The rest, you can skip. It won't hurt you to skip that. So you'll be fine not investing too much time into that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next Triplemania, and the most important of them all, Triplemania Mexico City. I invited my friends to watch this one in person, and we all regretted it deeply. There were some good matches in this event, but we were so worn out by the bad ones, we truly did not even care. In fact, I'm ashamed that I even spent money on this, and I'll tell you this right now. You don't need to spend money on AAA if you don't have to. I did it because I'm a fool and I'm a clown, but the show is just not good enough for you to be paying $20 for. And I'm very sorry to say that because I'm not actively rooting against AAA. This is the thing. I'm not actively rooting against them, but just paying for and watching these two shows, Triplemania Tijuana and then Triplemania Mexico City, which my friend actually paid for the Tijuana one. So that one was cool because it was like some buddies. But the second one, I was like, well, this is going to be a bigger, this is the blow off. This is the big one. I'll pay for this one. We'll watch it. I don't know. It just wasn't worth it. The biggest show of a company's year, it absolutely didn't feel like it. And it was not presented that way. And it was not, the outcomes just did not feel like this is the biggest show of the year, if that makes sense. Maybe it's much better live. And if you go see it in person, you'll have a great, fantastic time. But if you're watching the pay-per-view at home, in my opinion, it's not worth it. And one of the biggest issues that I had was the production, because whoever is running the production, like the mics, the cameras, everything for like TV and I guess like internet pay-per-view, whatever you want to call it, they need a talking to. Somebody needs to sit them down and talk to them and really, really hammer home that they need to take it up a notch. They need to get on the next level. The crowd mics were so low during this show, it sounded like there was no reaction for anything. And again, I could be wrong in like the actual arena. I'm sure maybe it was plenty loud in the actual arena, but when we were listening at home, it was just like we were all saying, because we were at my friend's house, we were all saying, you can't hear anything. Like, we can't hear the crowd at all. Like, I don't know, man. It was just not good. At one point during the battle royal, I don't know if it was the first one, or maybe like the second or the third match, but during the battle royal, the stream just went down for like almost the entire ending sequence. It came on right at the end, so we got to see the finish, but there was like a big chunk of time that was just gone. Stream just went down. Sorry. That footage is not, you can't watch it. Whatever. The first match, not eventful for me. Again, you can skip this one. 6-person tag. The teams are La Hiedra, Chick Tormenta, and Maravilla against Dalis, La Caribeña, Lady Shani, and the new Sexy Star. Didn't really do much to impress me here, and in a way, it kind of set the theme and the tone for the rest of the night. The second match was the Copa Bardal. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm not familiar with that brand, Bardal. I think it might be just like a Mexican auto parts store. Never had to shop for auto parts in Mexico, so I would never have needed to go there. Battle Royal again. Guys went in. They hit their moves. Next guy comes in. They hit their moves, and they're tussling and going at it in the ring. I think it was over the top rope. At one point, Pagano came out, but he was attacked by Tejano Jr. They didn't have a match together, but he got attacked. They went up on a forklift. This was pretty crazy. There was 2 tables stacked. Tejano Jr. takes Pagano up on a forklift, chucks him off of it. I felt really bad because Pagano just mostly missed the tables and just kind of like hit the edge of the table and then just fell straight down to the floor. I was like, oh my God, holy moly. But the entire time that was happening, the cameras were focused on them. We didn't really see what was going on in the ring during that whole time, and it took a little bit to set that up. But it was, I felt bad. It was pretty cool though. Overall though, I'll say that this battle royal at Mexico City, Triplemania, was way better than the one in Tijuana. The ending was good, but again, we missed a big part of it. The stream cut out for a while. We come back. We're into the finish. Laredo Kid wins. Good for him. He deserved a victory. I like Laredo Kid. I remember, actually, quick aside here, I remember watching Laredo Kid on PLata TV back when I was a kid. Back when I was just a regular kid. He was Laredo Kid, and I was just like a fat Mexican kid. But it ruled, dude. He ruled. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. I was like, why is this guy not in WWE? I've said that before about like every guy that I remember watching on AAA back in the day. And because that's literally just how I felt about every guy. Because I was like, man, this is so cool. Why are they not in WWE? How come they don't come on WWE? This was back when my naive child fat brain was just not really, I don't know. Maybe the synapses weren't firing as strongly as they are now. I couldn't put 2 and 2 together back then. I can now though, but good for Laredo Kid. He really cooked. We also got a match for the Reina de Reinas Championship, the Queen of Queens, between Taya Valkyrie and Flamer. Taya was bleeding like crazy in this match. She absolutely donned the Crimson Mask. She lost. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't exceptional, but I do very distinctly remember Taya, like, she was gushing. But, I wasn't mad at this one. I like this match. Not too bad. Yeah, it could have gone a little longer. I will say that. Could have did a little more. Could have gone a little longer. But I'm not going to rip into this one. I don't think there's anything that you can really rip too hard into this one. Yeah. You'll hear a lot of that today. So I popped again for Negro Casas coming down to the ring at this Triplemania, similar to the last one. However, this time he was notably missing his super cool red New Japan Pro Wrestling jacket. Instead, someone made him a custom jacket, I guess. I don't know why. That New Japan one is so cool. In fact, I was looking for it online to see if I could find one like that. I don't know when he must have got it, but it's like this like track kind of like bomber jacket that has like a big New Japan logo on it. I think on the back or maybe on the front. There's one like right on the chest as well. It's so nice. So nice. I love that jacket. Love that jacket. And if I could find it, I would buy it, but I couldn't find it. I looked online. I typed in every variation of red New Japan jacket, red New Japan bomber jacket, red New Japan track jacket, and none of them matched the one that he was wearing. So maybe he got it quite a long time ago. Anyway, he had a match against Nicho el Millonario, and I don't think that this match should have happened because as much as I love Negro Casas, putting these two together was not the move. Nicho looked very slow, and he has taken a lot of abuse on his body over the years. And at some points it looked like he was, he was just even slow just walking. And I don't know, it looked like his knees were just not there at some points. If Casas, I don't think that the blame can be put all on either one of them. I'm not going to say the match was bad because of Nicho or the match was bad because of Casas, because they're both old. They're both older. I don't want to call them old. I feel like that's a little mean. They're both older, but maybe like you could maybe work a match with each of them against younger opponents who could cover a bit better, and I don't know, put the load on them mainly, and then have them do like their spots as well, like Casas or Nicho. But I don't know. This one was not very good. The finish was really weird as well. It took Negro Casas forever to get Nicho's boot off of his foot, and then he did that to kind of like put him on the thumbtacks. But again, the cameras did not catch that. They completely missed the entire point of that spot. So they built up this spot, which I think was quite a bit slow in building it up, of Negro Casas taking out his foot out of the dang boot and putting on the thumbtacks, and they just missed it. Whatever, I say. You don't have to watch this one. You can go ahead and skip this. The AAA Latin American Championship, I thought on paper this could have been something really good. Unfortunately, in practice, it was very disjointed, it felt like. I think all four of these workers, it was Pentagon Jr., Dralístico. It was supposed to be Brian Cage, but Tejano Jr. was there instead of Brian Cage. And then I don't even remember the fourth guy. If we're being so honest, I don't remember who the fourth guy who was even in that match. And I'm not going to look it up because, again, I don't have anything to say about him. The highlights of this match, the match basically went, there's two guys in the ring and there's two guys out of the ring. And then they just kind of cycle in. There wasn't like, at no point did I feel like, especially during the most important parts of the match, it never really felt like all four guys were in there at once together, doing anything together. Okay, whatever, I guess. It's a four-way match, but the most people that are in a ring at once when it matters is like two. Whatever, okay. There's a table spot, did not really go quite as expected. Pentagon Jr. was trying to drive Dralístico through the table. Oh, QT Marshall's the guy, because QT Marshall won it. That's the fourth guy. Literally, okay, the table doesn't break. Pentagon Jr. gets up. Dralístico's down on the ground. Well, first off, they had to set up the table because the table kept like falling, and then they set it up, and then they did it, and then the table didn't even break. And then QT Marshall came in, kind of did a foul on Pentagon Jr. I think he ripped off his mask, got the pin, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's it. Literally, there was moments of that match that were so forgettable. I forgot who the fourth guy even was. It was literally Penta, Dralístico, Tejano Jr., who was filling in for Brian Cage, and QT Marshall. And QT Marshall won the darn thing. Okay, QT's defending it now on various shows, indie shows too. He's defending the championship. Okay. After this, and I think it might have been after this, or maybe it was before this. Oh man, this is one of the hardest parts of the show when I very much contemplated just telling my homies, y'all want to do something else? Like y'all want to play, I don't know, some video games or something? Y'all want to like, I don't know, do anything else right now? Because there was a moment, and when I say a moment, it was like 20 to 30 minutes. Swear, it felt like forever. That was just promotional segments for other products and sponsors. They had one moment with Dr. Simi. He's like a mascot for a chain of pharmacies in Mexico, where it was just like a dance-off with Dr. Simi. and there was Dr. Simi's all throughout the arena dancing, but like, I guess they were trying to get the people to dance, but none of these fools in attendance were dancing. So it was just like an awkward, like, promotional moment. Like, okay, like, who is watching? Like, who is this for at this point? And I was like, maybe if these were spread out throughout the show, it would have been better. But it honestly felt like this went forever, bro. Like, oh my goodness. This point, like, it was at this point when desperation was setting in for me. I was like, let's just end this, man. I want to turn this off. I'm here for that lucha de apuestas between Park, Rush, Psycho Clown, and Sam Adonis. That's what I was there for. So we got to get there. We have to get there no matter what. But again, like I'm saying, desperation is setting in. We got a mega campeonato match, mega championship, the AAA, the biggest AAA title. Hijo de Vikingo, Daga, Mike Bailey, and Jack Cartwheel. The match itself was pretty darn good. However, at this point, I didn't even care anymore. Like, I was so exhausted from the rest of the card that was just so that when I got to this, I was like, man, okay, like, let's just get through this to get to the main event. Okay, let's just get through this. That's it. I just want to get through this. Vikingo retained. Good. If you want to watch this one, I would recommend watching this one. They put this one up somewhere. Go and watch it. Worth watching. Very good match. I just want to get to the main event. And I was extremely excited for this main event. I really shouldn't have been. I really shouldn't have been. The rest of the event, the way it went, I should have known. I should have just turned it off. When Dr. Simi was dancing around, they were showing Mortal Kombat, Latin America exclusive characters. I should have just turned it off then. But I kept watching because, I guess I had to. For the sake of telling you guys about it now, I had to. But I did it. I kept watching. And we got LA Park, Rush, Psycho Clown, and Sam Adonis. I think everybody expected Sam Adonis to be the loser here. That was the expectation. Because if you're going to do LA Park and Rush, you got to do LA Park and Rush one-on-one. Let's be serious. They're against everybody there. I think the order of people who would have lost their masks on this night, most believably, lost mask or hair, most believable losing would be Sam Adonis. Of course, everyone expected him. Next, maybe Rush, just because he can grow that hair back. Psycho Clown would be third for me, just because I think the mask of LA Park is worth more than the mask of Psycho Clown right now. Maybe in the future, Psycho Clown's is worth more. But I think that LA Park's mask is the most valuable out of everybody who's participating in the match. I expected him to lose the least. Even though going into this match, you expect Sam Adonis to lose, the finish still fell flat because you go into the expectation that Sam Adonis is losing, but you have to make it at least a little believable that anybody else could lose under the right circumstances, maybe, right? If not, then you're just waiting for him to lose the whole match. There's no surprise, there's no expectation that anyone else can lose it. It doesn't really feel like anyone else is in danger. And you have to make everyone else feel like they're in danger to actually, I guess, sell this match and actually have people satisfied when Sam Adonis inevitably does lose, right? Could have been a better build up to him losing. La Facción Ingobernable, they came out, they helped Rush beat up on LA Park, they beat up on Psycho Clown, they beat up, I don't remember if they even beat up on Sam Adonis. I think they beat up on Sam Adonis a little bit. Sam Adonis, he hit a martinete, a pile driver on Psycho Clown there at the end, which I guess did boost up that believability a little bit, but not enough, because you already kind of knew that Psycho Clown's powering out, and he did. They get to the top rope. Psycho Clown hits a Spanish fly. 1, 2, 3, boom. Sam Adonis is out, right? LA Park was pinning Rush at the same time that Psycho Clown was pinning Sam Adonis, but I don't know if it was a camera angle or what. It just very comically looked like Rush kicked out hard as hell. Like as soon as 2, he just kicked out. And it was like, okay, well, he got a 2 on Rush, but Adonis is out for sure. Anyway, after the match, there was a quick little segment to further sell the damage that the Martinete did to Psycho Clown, which it felt more like a meme there at the end than an actual like, oh no, Psycho Clown's in danger, because LA Park grabs the microphone and he starts shaking Psycho Clown. He's like, hey, Psycho, ¿estás bien? And then he starts calling for a doctor from the back. And then I think he wanted to say something else. Like, I think he still wanted to keep talking on the mic. They cut the mic on him, which that sucked because that ruled. I love LA Park with a microphone in his hand. Anyway, they take Psycho out. The doctor took forever to get down there. He took forever to get down to the ring, which again, they should have, if that was faster, it would have been more believable. Hustle, fool, get down there, right? But again, they wheel out Psycho Clown on a stretcher. They take him out through the back. LA Park, mic is cut. Then Sam Adonis is getting his little haircut. He's all bloodied up, right? There was some color in this match. He's all bloodied up. And I'll say this. I think that Sam Adonis did a very good job on this post-match little promo after getting his hair shaved. He was talking about, just classic like American heel in Mexico. And that's been done so often by so many people. It's like, oh yeah, the evil American in Mexico, right? But the thing is, if it's not broke, you don't have to fix it. It just works. Like, it still works. That trope of evil American in Mexico just works. And Sam Adonis really does it well, I will say. I think he does a very good job playing a heel in Mexico. For that, my regards, Senor Sam Adonis. You do a good job, brother. You do a good job. Very good heel throughout that entire build-up. Maybe they should have just kept this match one-on-one. It would have been fine, just Sam Adonis and Psycho Clown. It's like they threw in a very interesting possibility, and then they didn't really deliver on that interesting possibility at all, is what it felt like. Might as well have just kept it one-on-one and just making it an exceptionally good one-on-one, and that would have worked better, in my opinion. Again, these are all my opinions. If you agree, cool. If you don't agree, also cool. I don't think anybody's feelings are going to get hurt by a guy with a microphone like me, right? It's whatever. They also did a weird like medical spot backstage for Hijo de Vikingo as well. I don't know if this one made it like on the broadcast, but I did see it on social media because a lot of people were like quote tweeting it and like almost like in a panic, being like, oh no, Vikingo, I sure hope he's okay. Prayers up for Vikingo, right? Like, the thing was, though, like, this was almost the exact same segment as what they did with Psycho Clown in the ring, where they, bring out a stretcher. It was just kind of like Vikingo's exhaustion and the damage he took in the match is now taking a toll backstage. And it would have hit harder if, like, I didn't already see the Psycho Clown one as well before that. Like, I don't know. But it was kind of funny for like see a bunch of people on Twitter who did not watch the show, who kind of just know Vikingo for his AEW stuff, GCW, the indies that he works, and then they saw this happen. They saw this angle being cut backstage where he was like, oh, hurt, and they actually they bought into it really hard, which good. I guess that's good in a way. It's good for people who weren't watching Triplemania. It's not as good for people who were, because then it's just like, okay, you're just doing this angle again. But it ultimately worked, I guess, for people who weren't watching. If you weren't watching Triplemania, very good for you. I do kind of regret, again, I've said it before, I do regret watching this one. I think it could have been much, much better. Personally, I'm not a booker. I don't know how I would have changed it. I know I would have changed it, and I would have done things differently, but I'm not getting paid to do that. And I've never done it before. So it's not like I can say, I would have done this different and it would have been better. I would have done this different. It would have been better. I would have done something different. And essentially, I just wanted it to feel more satisfied by the end of the show. Because, like I said, AAA is filled with very, very talented people who work very hard. I don't know what's not clicking. Something needs to change. If you're thinking about watching this show now, like a month later, you don't have to. It wouldn't hurt you. It would not hurt you to not watch it. If you want to, there's a few really good matches in there. And when I say really good, I mean like the Vikingo match. from Mexico City, and then the tag match and the Vikingo match from Tijuana. Go ahead, go crazy on those, right? Now, to switch the mood completely from disappointment and dissatisfaction with Triple to almost complete admiration for what CMLL has been doing this summer, I say this completely unironically and with meaning. I think that CMLL has had one of the best summers out of any major pro wrestling company. They're probably the most underrated and underappreciated company today in 2023. The events that CMLL has put on over the last 3 months, really over the entire summer, have been so good in my eyes. Let's start with Atlantis' 40th year celebration. And you may remember me talking about this show back at the beginning of July on the last episode. Again, sorry for the wait. And it really delivered. Máscara Dorada 1.0, aka Metallic, he came back to CMLL and then he subsequently left again. And I'm going to give my thoughts on this situation in a bit because it's very much worth talking about. But let's talk about the actual event first. Some of the matches that stood out from this Atlantis show, the team of Los Atrapasueños, Rey Cometa, and Espíritu Negro against La Ola Negra, Dark Magic, and Akuma. This was a cabellera versus cabellera, so the stakes were high. Someone is leaving this arena without their hair. Not just one, two guys are leaving the arena without their hair because there's a tag match. The match absolutely delivered, and then some. In fact, I would go maybe as far as to say that this was probably the best match of the night. Absolutely recommended viewing. If you can watch it, go on ahead and watch it. Right? It's a very good match. We also saw a trios match between the teams of Máscara Dorada 1.0, 2.0, and Titan against Templario, Virus, and Bárbaro Cavernario. This was another very good match. I did expect Metallic to cut loose a little more, but whatever. First show back, maybe he'll do it the next go around, right? The main event was Team Atlantis against Team Último Guerrero, and the participants in this match did trend a bit older, so it was a bit slower paced, but the ending and the post-match segment started the build to the 90th anniversary show, which is this weekend. Último Guerrero and Averno were in the ring arguing after, kind of like towards the end, and then after the match, and they started swinging. They were throwing some bombs at each other, like pow, 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 pow. Just really, really swinging on each other, and it was very entertaining because a few of those hit, and whoo, buddy, that's what I like to see in there sometimes, you know? Very, very entertaining. Very good build. They won a match against each other at the anniversary show. A week later, we get the qualification match. The qualification match for the Leyenda de Plata, a.k.a. one of the most prestigious tournaments in CMLL. 8 people go in. The last remaining 2 get a spot in the finals for the next week, right? In my opinion, I thought the qualifying match was pretty good, and it set up the best possible final that it could have. So the final for this match ended up being Rocky Romero and Máscara Dorada 2.0. 2 guys who I think are absolutely on the top of their games right now. Again, I'm going to say this again. The end of this Friday show, I left this Friday show, closed my laptop, when I stopped watching, I felt absolutely satisfied with what I paid for. Absolutely worth the $5 that you have to pay for their show, right? Their Friday pay-per-views. Absolutely worth it. Loved it. Loved it. Right? Loved it. So we move forward one more week to the actual finals of the tournament, which, like I said, and just to refresh for I guess anyone who didn't watch the last episode or didn't listen to the last episode, this is one of, if not the most important tournament that CMLL runs. And it's focused on crowning the best welterweight in the company, which welterweights in CMLL, they carry a little more status than someone like a heavyweight would. A welterweight is like, I don't know, more athletic. They're doing more than, I guess, most of the heavyweights. Anyway, you get crowned as the best welterweight with this tournament. And here, I want to take a quick minute to address an error that I made on the last episode. Nobody called me out for it, which I'm very happy you guys are so nice to me not to call me out on this terrible mistake I said. I said that the person who won the last Leyenda de Plata before this year's was Titan. Brother, it was Templario. Templario won 2022. Titan was 2021. This was a careless and foolish mistake. I apologize, but it will happen again. It will happen again. I'm going to make mistakes. I don't know everything. I'm not an expert. Again, I want to reiterate, I am not an expert. I'm just a fan. I'm just a guy who really likes watching this stuff, really likes putting things together. Okay. Moving on, though. July 28th, right? This is the Leyenda de Plata tournament finals date, right? Another great show overall as well. We got a debut of possibly my new favorite trio on Friday nights. Zandekan Jr., Villano Tercero Jr., and Hijo de Villano Tercero. These three as a team are out there cooking. And spoiler alert, they've been cooking ever since they first started teaming up on that July 28th show. This is easily my favorite trio to watch on Friday night shows, and I think that more people should be watching them. Keep an eye on them if you haven't. They're very entertaining. Very, very, very entertaining. Anyway, their match was very good. If you didn't catch that from what I'm saying about them here. The semi-main event, we saw Titan and Máscara Dorada 1.0 again, aka Metallic. And I will say it, sadly and regrettably, this match was not as good as I expected it to be. And it was not as enjoyable as I expected it to be. The match just did not get the crowd into it. The crowd was not feeling it. The pacing was kind of weird. The first fall was crazy fast, and then it just never really recovered from that. Others have pointed this out as well. I'm not the first to say this. This isn't some grand truth that I'm telling. This is like the consensus, basically. And I think a lot of people came to this conclusion just watching it, because it just, there just wasn't a lot that was happening here that was just wildly impressive or anything. And I hate to say that, because when Máscara Dorada 1.0 was announced to be coming back to CMLL, I think a lot of people were kind of putting their eyes on that. And the 2 weeks that he was there, all the shows that he ran while he was there, that's what you can say about it. They weren't bad, but they weren't super impressive. He didn't really stand out from anybody else. And I'm going to talk more about that later, because I don't want to overshadow the main event of this card, which was just incredible, fantastic, phenomenal, chef's kiss, right? Rocky Romero and Máscara Dorada 2.0. I briefly talked about it earlier, mentioned it. Now let's actually talk about it, right? This was a great, great main event. It was everything that it needed to be and more. It was one of the best matches of the year. It truly was, right? If you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have, you already know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, go and watch it, because in my eyes, this is 5 stars, baby. This is 5 stars. I don't care whose ratings you use. These are my ratings. 5 stars, baby. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fantastic. Fantastic match, right? Rocky Romero plays such a perfect heel in Arena Mexico. And Máscara Dorada 2.0, he was on fire for this one. Quick aside, just to talk more about Rocky Romero, this fool has been cooking and cooking and cooking 5-star gourmet meals down in CMLL all year, it feels like. He's cooking down there, man. He talked about this. I read about this, and I think I read about it because of Cubs fan Lucha Blog. Shout out to him again. Awesome dude. That Rocky Romero was on a podcast. It was a New Japan fan podcast called Keeping It Strong Style, I think is the name of it. Keeping It Strong Style. And he was talking about how last year when he came in for the 2022 Grand Prix, the International Grand Prix, he kind of like called out Volador Jr. It was just one date. They only mentioned for that one Grand Prix, but because of the heat he got with Volador Jr., because of the reactions he was getting, they kept calling him back. And then, I mean, if you've been watching CMLL this year, he had some classics with Volador Jr. already earlier in the year. And I mean, if a guy keeps putting on fantastic matches, he keeps putting on, he keeps getting great reactions, he keeps being that heel you need him to be, brother, you keep calling him back. And they have been. And if you haven't been watching Rocky Romero and CMLL, what are you doing, man? Come on. Let's see come and just watch a Rocky Romero and CMLL show. Watch any of his matches against Volador Jr., watch his Máscara Dorada 2.0 match. Watch him in the Grand Prix. That fool is so good, man. That fool is so good. Love to see it. Love to see it. And you should be watching it too. Anyway, again, big shout out, Cubs fan, aka Lucha Blog. He included this information in one of his write-ups. The dude has some of the best write-ups on Lucha, some of the only write-ups on Lucha, really, that I have keep up with. Especially for people who don't speak Spanish. He's one of the few guys who covers Lucha in English. So shout out to him, Rob Viper, Roy Lucier, all of those guys. Massive shout outs. Really cool guys, honestly, online. I follow them all on Twitter. I'm always seeing what they have to say because I do take their insight and their opinions. I value them. They're very good. They're very knowledgeable. They know a lot. And it's just they're very much worth keeping up with the things they say. You don't have to I'm not saying go and worship every word that they say as the law or the truth, but they are very much knowledgeable guys who know a lot about what they're talking about. I mean, they've probably forgotten more about Lucha Libre than I know, right? I very much value the things they have to say. Anyway, let's keep going. Okay, so let's talk about the CMLL International Grand Prix and the lead up to it. First, let's talk about the show on August 4th, 2023, the first show of August. The highlight, again for me, was Santa Can Jr. and Los Villanos taking on Los Atrapasueños as a trio. I personally think this was the best match of that night. Very, very good match. As always, I'm going to keep saying it. Santa Can Jr. and Los Villanos together. Great trio. They cook, right? The main event was the team of Místico, Soberano Jr. and Atlantis Jr. against Los Guerreros Laguneros and Los Guerreros Laguneros, Último Guerrero, Stuka Jr. and Gran Guerrero. They took 2 wins in a row, 2 falls in a row, dirty, and it set up another match for the teams for the next week, the 11th. So on the 11th, we had another good show. This show featured some of the guys who will be participating in the International Grand Prix just 1 week after this one. Match of the night, probably Volador Jr. and Virus against Los Habana Brothers, TJP, DJ Perkins, and Rocky Romero. There's Rocky Romero again. The main event was fine, but really what it did was set up another match for the next week between Stuka Jr. and Soberano Jr. The actual International Grand Prix, this was another big event for CMLL, features 2 teams, Team World and Team Mexico. Each team consists of 6 members. Team World had Rocky Romero, Hiromu Takahashi, Kushida, TJP, Francesco Akira, Balian Aki, Adrian Quest, and Samurai del Sol, aka Kalisto, for those who haven't been keeping up with him before or after WWE. On Team Mexico, we had Místico, Último Guerrero, Averno, Templario, Máscara Dorada 2.0, Volador Jr., Ángel de Oro, and Dragón Rojo Jr. The best matches from this show were Soberano Jr. and Stuka Jr. in a singles match and the main event. Soberano Jr. and Stuka Jr. cooked up an absolute delectable banger. Very much recommended watching again from this show. Watch this match one-on-one, Soberano Jr., Stuka Jr. Very, very, very much worth watching. Excellent stuff here. Excellent stuff here. Additionally, the 6v6 International Grand Prix was also very, very good. It had good flow. It had a great finish. Místico facing off against Kushida and Hiromu Takahashi. And then a very good post-match segment. Team Mexico celebrating, right? They're celebrating the trophy. The international guys from Team World start coming out. Let's get a picture together. Rocky Romero kicks the hell out of the trophy, out of the International Grand Prix trophy. He starts getting chased down. Místico wants to beat him up. Very, very good stuff, right? Takahashi, he's like holding the trophy at one point. And I don't know, just really good stuff coming out of this International Grand Prix. Another show that at the end, I did not feel any regret paying the money to watch it. I felt really good. I was like, wow, that was a great show. Hope they put on another great one next week. Week after week, that's what I felt like watching CMLL this summer. We're not done yet, though. Let's keep talking. That's just the feeling, reiterating the feeling that I had. Very satisfying, very entertaining. Opposite of what I got from Triplemania. The last 2 weeks, mostly uneventful. Still good, but mostly it's like big show from International Grand Prix. We got to do some smaller shows before the 90th anniversary, right? August 25th, we get Xander Kent Jr. and Los Villanos again. They have another great match. We get Hiromu Takahashi again in Arena Mexico. He was teaming up with Titan and Soberano Jr. And then the finish set up a mano a mano between Místico and Soberano Jr. for the September 1st show. Then Místico and Takahashi, they actually had a championship match for Místico's title on the 27th of August, which was a Sunday show. Usually those are not broadcast, but this one got broadcast on the members only channel, which again I have not paid for, but I need to go back and watch some of these older shows again. But my theory on this is I'm gonna keep waiting until they have a larger backlog of stuff that I can sit through and watch. Then I'll become a regularly subscribing member. I mean, I pay for the pay-per-views every Friday, basically. I pay for the shows every Friday. $5, really not that much. They're worth it to me. Very, very high quality stuff that I'm watching every Friday. So I like it. I've never felt dissatisfied paying my $5 watching CMLL. I'm going to say it again. I have not felt dissatisfied this summer paying for CMLL. Anyway, I have not watched the Takahashi and Místico championship match from Sunday the 27th because, like I said, not a member. They put that one up on the members only. I've heard it was good. From what other people have been saying, I've heard it was good. I can't give you my opinion. I haven't watched it. Sorry. But the most recent show is actually not September 1st anymore. It's actually September 8th now, but I have not watched that one yet. I'm going to watch that one today. I watched it a bit late. I know what happens. I know the results, but I'm actually going to watch it here soon. But the last show we're going to talk about is September 1st. Again, really enjoyed this one. Copa Independencia, right? It's like the Independence Cup. It's like a mini tournament, which the two finalists will be on the first match of the 90th anniversary. They will face off for the Independence Cup. On the first, it was the A block, the qualifiers for the A block. The person who won this was Esfinge. The last two were Esfinge and Rey Cometa. Rey Cometa came very close. And for a moment, I thought he was going to do it. I really did. I like Rey Cometa's look. I like the way he's in the ring. I like the way he moves. I like his moves. I like the fool he's good in there, right? But Esfinge won it, and I saw some online dissatisfaction with Esfinge. Some people think he's quite mid. There's one move that he does that I just think is so cool. The nudo egipcio. It's like this leg lock kind of pin. I really like it. Can't speak too much for the rest of his work, I guess. But others think he's pretty mid. He's just a guy, and then maybe somebody else should have been in there instead. I don't know. Maybe I can't give an opinion too strongly that way, but that is the consensus. We got B block qualifiers this past Friday, September the 8th. I was hoping for Zandekan Jr. or Hijo de Villano Tercero to win this one, but it was not the case. Rugido won, so it will be Esfinge against Rugido in the opening match for the 90th anniversary show. We got on the first, so going back, we got a very nice little tag team match between Templario and Máscara Dorada against Titan and Dragón Rojo Jr. Pretty good. I like the finish on this one. It wasn't exceptional, I guess. It wasn't, super standout, but it was pretty good. We did get a pretty standout match, though, however, between Soberano Jr. and Místico. This was set up the previous week, and it delivered, very much so. This was a very, very good match. Again, left me very satisfied with purchasing the pay-per-view. Soberano Jr. came out, dripped out yet again, second week in a row. The previous week before this show, he came out in a very, very nice, almost like Infernales themed gear, like fire red. Because his dad is Euphoria, who's part of Los Infernales. But he looked really cool. And then this past show, on the September 1st show, he came out in this green. He came out in this mesh shirt, which was just fresh as hell. Sadly, though, when he got to the ring, he got to the turnbuckle top rope. He tore it up. Not sure if we'll see it again. Him and Zandekan Jr., they both come out with those mesh shirts now. They must go for the same suppliers because those shirts are looking fresh. They're really bringing back that look of a Rudo coming out in the mesh shirt. I'm a fan of it. Yes, keep that up. To summarize, though, CMLL has been stomping a mud hole in AAA in terms of the quality of the product this summer. If you want to watch good, quality, entertaining, and satisfying Lucha Libre, it's happening over at CMLL. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that CMLL Super Viernes Espectacular, whatever you want to call it, is the best wrestling show that comes on Friday nights. And that may be controversial, that may be a bit hyperbolic, but I have been enjoying CMLL on Fridays way more than I've been enjoying SmackDown, and way, way more than I've been enjoying Rampage. I think overall, CMLL it's been very underrated by fans of pro wrestling, especially here recently. But I hope more people are turning their attentions to it, especially with such a good summer that they've had, and this 90th anniversary show that's coming up here this week. There seems to be such a big following for wrestling for companies outside the U.S., especially like in Japan. And I think that a lot of the people who really like Japanese wrestling, like American fans of Japanese wrestling, I think that they would really, really enjoy what you see in CMLL today. And the only thing that's stopping these fans, I think, from truly enjoying it and giving it a deeper look is the Spanish language. If you can get past this language barrier, I think you'll have a great time and you'll very much enjoy what CMLL is offering. If they can invest in an on-site English announce team to broadcast commentary in English, I think that would help a lot. I'm not sure if we'll get that. I'm not sure if that's a priority for them. It does not seem it's been a priority for CMLL in the past. But if they can make that a priority, I think that a lot of fans would really, really appreciate that and really, really like it. On-site, though, none of that in an outside studio somewhere else like AAA does it. Trying to watch Triplemania with the English announce team, not very good, honestly. It just does not carry the same feeling as watching it in Spanish with the guys and the announce table. So that's what I need from CMLL. Bring me that. One more segment for today is talking about Máscara Dorada 1.0, aka Metallic leaving CMLL for good. And I'm going to try and keep this one brief because we've been going for quite a bit today. My voice is starting to go out, and I think this is an important bit that needs to be said. Basically, Metallic did an interview with Más Lucha 2 or 3 weeks ago after the news came out that CMLL and Metallic are no longer working together. Basically, what it seems like is that CMLL no longer needs Metallic. He said the programming department of CMLL, which is, I guess, basically like the booking department, the guys who program the shows, who put together the shows, told him that he was free to go to AAA. He's free to go work wherever. They're not going to use him anymore. Metallic seemed upset. He seemed betrayed because he thought that he had a pretty good relationship with Big Boss Luteroth. He said that they talked about dates in August where he would possibly be called in and needed. But then after this conversation, he said he got a call from programming saying, we're not really going to be working together anymore. Metallic in this interview was talking about how he was taking a lower amount of money to work for CMLL. As he said, I think for 3 CMLL shows, he makes the same as he would make with one show in the US with somebody like Ring of Honor or AEW. Also, he talked about how he has to work less shows in the US. In the 2 weeks that he went back to CMLL, Metallic, he worked like 10 or 11 shows in those 2 weeks, right? Because CMLL, they run Monday at Puebla, they run Tuesday, both at Arena Mexico, and they run a show in Arena Coliseo de Guadalajara. They run a show on Fridays, they run a show on Saturdays, they run a show on Sunday. So they run a lot of shows, right? So he had like 11 shows he had to work in those 2 weeks. I did not watch all of them. Just couldn't. I caught the Friday shows he was there, the 2 Friday shows he was there, and then I caught, I think, the 2 Tuesday shows that he worked. Metallic also mentioned he was not happy with how CMLL gave his family tickets, with the tickets that they would give his family to come watch him. He says that CMLL had his family sitting in the seats that they used for vendors and staff. Metallic also criticized the speed and the style of CMLL, saying that some of the younger guys should slow down, do less moves, sell more during the match. He said that would help them out. I disagree with this one for what, in my opinion, matters. Probably nothing compared to his. But I disagree because I think this criticism is not a good one for the CMLL guys. Because I think he said this when they were talking about like Máscara Dorada 2.0. So I don't know if his comments were directed at Máscara Dorada 2.0 or if he was he just thought of this after they started talking about him. But I've never seen a Máscara Dorada 2.0 match where it looks like he's just going from spot to spot as fast as he can. Máscara Dorada 2.0, his matches, they have a lot of flow. They're very exciting. They're very entertaining. They are, they're just very good matches. And when I'm watching Máscara Dorada 2.0, I'm constantly saying, wow, right? I'm not just being like, oh, that was a spot. Oh, that was a spot. Oh, he's not selling that. I think he sells fine. I think he sells very good. And I think they move at a very good pace. So this criticism that these young stars need to do less and they need to slow down, that rings very hollow to me. Metallic also mentions that he was not programmed for the International Grand Prix at the end of August, which got me thinking a little more about the 90th anniversary coming up this week. 2 of the Lucha House Party members, 2 of his comrades from the Lucha House Party, Samurai del Sol and Lince Dorado, will be at Arena Mexico again for a match against Soberano Jr. and Titan here Saturday for the 90th anniversary. It would have been cool to get the whole trio, all the Lucha House Party against 3 CMLL guys, but CMLL themselves thought otherwise. To wrap this up, I don't think that this breakup between CMLL and Metallic hurts either party too much. I think it's very clear that Metallic is more than comfortable working a slower, I don't know, how would you describe it? A slower, more WWE style, like more American style of match. And that doesn't really help him stand out too much in CMLL, especially with all the guys, the pace they're doing down there. In the 2 weeks of shows that he did at Arena Mexico and all the other, Arena Coliseo de Guadalajara, the Arena de Coliseo de Ciudad de Mexico, Arena Puebla. I don't even know if he worked at Arena Puebla. I'd assume he did. But in all of those matches that I watched, I just can't say he did too much to stand out compared to the guys that he was working with, right? And I'm not saying that in a haterish way, I guess. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, he has this newer style, this new slower style that he likes to do, that he thinks works better for him. And if that's how it is, then that's how it is, right? I can't really criticize him for that. I wish that, he was... I hate saying this. Like, if you watch, like, before he went to WWE, he did a lot more than now, I guess. And I don't know. Maybe it's just that mindset of when you go WWE, that's just how they do it there. I thought he'd turn it up a little more, but he did what he did. He's happy with it. Can't get any more problems. There's no problem to come out of that. If he's getting paid and he's working less dates, but he's getting paid more money with AEW, Ring of Honor, American Indies, power to you, brother, right? Do what you need to do, make the money you need to make, and you be happy with what you do, right? It does suck that he feels betrayed by CMLL, but I do think that both sides will be better off this way. I will say this, though. This is just out of pure opinion. Metallic, stay working AEW, stay working Ring of Honor, stay working Indies in the U.S. You don't have to run to AAA super early, right? Just based on AAA's, summer, I just don't feel like they used you the right way, interesting or in a satisfying way. All right, so I said that was the last segment, but this is actually truly the last segment, and it's going to be a short segment. It is Aniversario Week, 90th Aniversario Week, and I need to plug the show this Saturday. Saturday, September 16th, is the 90th anniversary show for CMLL, their biggest and most important show of the year, and I am very happy with the lineup. Let's run through it quickly. The show will open with the final for the Copa Independencia between the two winners of the qualifying matches, Esfinge and Rugido. Then we will get a match for the Women's World Tag Team titles between the teams of Lluvia and La Jarochita against Zexis and Stephanie Vaquer. We will get a Legends trio match between the teams of Atlantis, Octagon, and Blue Panther against El Satánico, Fuerza Guerrera, and Virus. Following that is Titan and Soberano Jr. against Samurai del Sol and Lince Dorado, the Lucha House Party. We'll also be getting a CMLL versus New Japan match with Místico leading a team alongside Atlantis Jr. and Máscara Dorada 2.0 against The Vile, Rocky Azucar Romero, TJP, and Kevin Knight. Our last two matches of the card are both apuestas. First is a tag match in which the winning team will go on to have a one-on-one with each other for their hair. Último Guerrero and Averno against Volador Jr. and Ángel de Oro. Lastly, our headliner is a mask versus mask between Templario and Dragón Rojo Jr. Personally, I am super, super excited for this card. The entire night is stacked with talent and interesting matches, and I'm very confident that CMLL will deliver. I highly recommend watching, and I don't think that you're going to be disappointed with this one. Even if you don't speak Spanish, I do still think it'll be a very fun time. So that is it for this super long episode of the Club Lucha Podcast. This was mainly covering the Summer of Lucha, everything we missed in this almost 2 months that I didn't upload. Again, I'm so sorry. We're going to be going back to a regular schedule. Much quicker the turnaround will be. I just had a lot of things going on, and I couldn't get to recording this until now. But I appreciate you all very much for listening, and I hope that you tune in for the next one. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.